I'm just gonna give it to you straight, fellas. This next set of videos are all projects that I had more or less nearly completed back in late January or early February, and I just forgot to put them out. I thought I had completed and uploaded them, but I was wrong. Yes, I know, but to be fair, we were all a bit preoccupied around that time. If you've seen the community post, you know what's up. This isn't a reason, obviously. I still shouldn't have made such a stupid mistake as making a whole ass video and then forgetting to upload it. But here we are. No use crying over spilt milk. So enjoy some fashionably late content, and while these come out, I'll use the time to work on the actual next projects. Enjoy. Ever since Trump's second term has begun, there's been a steady rise in anti-Tesla action, ranging from the mundane to the insane. Let's start at the bottom and work our way up. Many people were simply protesting outside of Tesla stores. Regardless of how you feel about the actual issue, Trump and Elon and Tesla, this is clearly within their free speech rights to do. There are also sometimes counter-protesters, people who are pro-Tesla or pro-Elon or pro-Trump, and that's also completely within their free speech rights too. So far, there's no problems here. Occasionally, you'll get something like this. People staging sit-ins at a Tesla store, or people causing messes in a Tesla store. This stuff is going to be like a trespassing charge or a nuisance charge or something. The best thing you can say about this is, at least their target is appropriate for their goals. It is Elon Musk's property and he is the guy they oppose, but nah, this is still illegal, throw the book at him. Especially for using the cat face emoji. What are you doing? These aren't your Discord kittens. Believe it or not, with regards to one of these stores, some of the protesters outside were actually willing to talk to the media.
He is setting it up to make more billions, decimating programs that people need, both internationally and in this country, and basically take our democracy away from us.
Every day they got to hear from us. We got to make calls every day. We got to let our senators, let all our elected officials know how we feel and what we care about. That's it really does make a difference.
Now, we don't know if these specific people committed the vandalism, but those who are present are pretty honest about wanting to hurt Elon's bottom line in protest of what Trump and Doge are doing. But then there's the Tesla vandalism. This is, in my opinion, a step too far. These are the private vehicles of random citizens. You're not hurting Elon here. You're vandalizing or sometimes destroying people's private property. These events also have their own range of severity. On the low end is something like the guy who had a sticker put on his Tesla. Yeah, it's also not good that he received threats after complaining online, but talking only about the vandalism for a moment, the sticker could be easily removable, causing no damage. Or it could leave a lasting residue that takes a lot of work to get off, like those Stop a Douchebag stickers from back in the day. More seriously are those who actually deface the vehicles. Personally, I don't know how hard it is to get either paint or permanent marker off of a car, but it's probably not a very fun time. Usually they're defaced with swastikas, generally paired with Elon's name, letting the world know what the protester thinks using private property as their canvas. And then you have those who are actually dealing lasting damage to the car, beyond something that can simply be cleaned off with the right chemicals and a bunch of elbow grease. There's the people who stomp on Teslas, trying to break the windshields. There's the people who slam Teslas with heavy objects, trying to dent the sides. A lot of the time, these people just fail at doing lasting damage, but not all the time. Sometimes they actually will manage to slash a tire, or just straight up take a tire off.
This is the definition of you can't have shit nice in New York, because they will fuck your shit up.
And then sometimes you'll find a Tesla that is actually just completely fucked up. And then there's the people who gouge Teslas with their keys, not only scratching paint off, but leaving physical divots in the underlying metal. There are a whole bunch of these. Keying Teslas is easily the most common form of vandalism, probably because all the convenience factors line up for this type of crime. Where are you likely to see a Tesla? Unguarded, owned by somebody else. Generally either parked on the street or in a parking lot. And if you're already walking through a parking lot yourself, you've probably already got keys because you're going to your own car. And since it is a parking lot, the Tesla's owner is probably in the store, and he probably isn't your direct neighbor back home or something, so the chance of you actually getting caught is relatively low. Except for the fact that Teslas record everything going on around them, which is where these videos keep coming from. Nonetheless, the practice is common enough that even state-level employees are getting in on it. I find this clip to be especially interesting. Look at this person's face while they're doing it, the way their hands are shaking with adrenaline while cutting into the car, the way they hold their phone recording themselves doing it, probably to show their friends later about how awesome it was. This look is a mixture of hatred and excitement. They're probably thinking something like, "Oh my god, I'm owning the chuds! Fuck you, Drumpf!" Of course, this is politically motivated, at least according to one person who was apprehended doing it.
How about you pay for the repairs? Write a check. You just bought a Tesla.
I can wipe it off with
No,
a towel.
no,
It's not
no.
a heat.
It is a
It was
hate crime,
it was
sir.
a crayon.
It is a hate crime.
Listen,
Did you write a swastika on there?
I'm sorry you're upset.
Did you write a swastika?
It didn't even work. Apparently it doesn't work.
Did you write a
'cause the crayons
swastika
don't
on
work.
It's a key, sir. We see it on the video.
It's not a key.
Did you? Is it a swastika?
I was probably putting my keys in my pocket.
Is it a swastika?
Have you looked at your car?
Is it a swastika?
Is there a key mark?
Yes. Is it a swastika?
That's impossible.
It's at the police right now. It's being fingerprinted.
What do you mean it's being fingerprinted?
Because they're trying to track you down. Thankfully, Facebook tracked you down. So your business, your freaking livelihood, everything now.
Listen,
because you chose to write so to tell Facebook that you're sorry for writing a swastika on a Tesla.
Listen, I said I'm sorry.
For what?
And I apologize.
For what?
I have nothing against your car, and I have nothing against you.
So why would you write a swastika on a Tesla?
Obviously, I have something against Elon Musk, but that's not the
so
way
Elon
to
Musk
show my...
owns that car because
No,
it was
he
bought
owns
and
the
paid
company.
for. It was bought and paid for a long time
That's
ago.
why it's misguided, and obviously, I did not intend to do this.
All right,
sir.
we're gonna wait for the.
This one initially seemed kind of odd. A woman got hit with a felony charge for vandalizing a Tesla with chewing gum? I mean, yeah, it's gross and annoying if somebody sticks gum on your car, but initially this seemed kind of petty. However, it came out in court that the gum actually caused a lot of damage because she jammed it into the retractable handle mechanism of the Tesla in question. Okay, fair enough. Beyond the physical damage of people's private property, though, is the terrorism. Maybe some of you will object to my use of the word terrorism, but it is appropriate. Terrorism means the use of unlawful violence and intimidation against non-participants in a conflict to achieve political goals. For example, if you have anti-government partisans attacking government property or government officials, whether you agree or disagree with their cause, it's not terrorism because their conflict is against the government. But if those activists attack unaligned private citizens, hoping to draw them into the conflict or change the government's behavior, then it is terrorism. This is why the World Trade Center attack on 9/11 was terrorism, the most famous terrorist attack in fact, while the attack on the Pentagon on that same day probably wasn't, due to the difference between public and private targets. And that doesn't mean that I support Al-Qaeda attacking the Pentagon before some brainlet makes that dumb fuck claim. So, terrorism in the context of this conversation is when the activists specifically target private citizens in order to effect political change, which means that almost everything you've seen here today is some form of terrorism, although obviously quite minor in comparison to 9/11. However, there have been more serious Tesla-related threats. One guy says his friend received this note, claiming his Tesla had been rigged with a bomb. Even if there is no bomb, and this is just some asshole fucking with the car owner, this is a terroristic threat. Additionally, an actual bomb was found at a Tesla dealership. Molotov cocktails have been used against Teslas at multiple locations across the US and Canada, both privately owned vehicles and vehicles that aren't yet sold and are still at the dealership, as well as other related infrastructure like Tesla charging stations. One location was vandalized, firebombed, and shot at, all by the same guy. At least one individual has been arrested and charged with participating in these attacks. And what the fuck? Is this guy one of those warlocks from Game of Thrones? Another one was temporarily arrested, but ultimately got released because his lawyer claimed he was in the middle of transitioning and prison would disrupt the process. Listen, I don't care what fucking gender you are. You out here blowing up cars, you gotta go to jail, period. And of course, people have been hurt during these events. It's not just damage to property. One guy ran over a pro-Elon counter-protester during those escalating protests. A pregnant woman in Vancouver had a large rock hurled through her Tesla windshield while she was driving around, seriously injuring her. In case it's not obvious, this is all pretty bad stuff, guys. Nobody should be doing this shit. I don't care if you don't like Elon or Trump. I don't like Trump either. But attacking random people is always unacceptable. Damaging their stuff is bad. Lighting things on fire is really bad, because now there's collateral damage. And hurting people is extremely bad. Of course, there are people joking and memeing about these events too. And while the constant escalation does trouble me, I can still enjoy a good joke from any side. I laughed when I saw people saying that they'd love to drive around a Tesla with Nazi branding, actually. I laughed when that one dude blasted exhaust out of his pickup onto a street full of Tesla protesters. I laughed at a Denim's joke of all things. Never thought I'd see the day. But probably the hardest laugh of all was when libs of TikTok posted this graphic, insane Tesla terrorist. Yeah, dude, I'm totally sickened by this. I sure do hope some hot chick with a round ass doesn't go up to my car and rub herself all over it. That would totally be a tragedy, man. No, wait, I didn't mean it. Don't rub your anal fudge under my car, no! However, the political right wing, you know, the side that's been all about free speech and protecting the comedians for like the past 5 years or so, now that they're in power, they are beginning to abandon those positions, just like the left did 10 years ago. For example, I'm no fan of SNL, but I wouldn't call them mocking Tesla disgusting or unhinged. If you don't like the joke, you don't like the joke, fair enough. But this reaction is what leftoids would give to a joke they didn't like. And then the rightoids would say, why are you triggered? Just a meme, bro. Can't you handle the banter? Oh, what? You can't take it when Tim Waltz jokes about Tesla's stock collapsing?
That little stock app, I added Tesla to it to give me a little boost during the day. 225 and dropping. So... And if you own one, we're not blaming you. You can take dental floss and pull the Tesla thing off, and take out, just telling you.
It's just jokes, dude. Why are you all snowflakes? Oh, we can joke about everything except the issues you're sensitive about. Is that it? We gotta take your concerns seriously, but everything else is on the table? Where have I heard that one before again?
So, the left wanted to make comedy illegal, Like, you can't make fun of anything. So then it's like, comedy sucks. It's like, nothing's funny. You can't make fun of anything. It's like, legalize comedy. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Once again, I'm not saying these Tesla terrorists are good, far from it. I want each and every single one of them locked up. But if you're sitting here saying that comedy is suddenly bad because now it's an issue that you care about, then you're no different from the leftoids who scream about how bad it is to make trans suicide jokes or deportation jokes or whatever. No, all jokes are kosher. If we're in the realm of comedy, everything is permitted. Moving away from jokes, I want to point out that the level of Elon worship has gotten pretty wild, if only because it's clearly being done for partisan reasons. Like here, let me take you back in time a few years, okay? There's a handful of stories ranging from 2022 to as far back as like 2018, where Teslas were once again getting keyed. But this time, it wasn't being done by leftoids who believe that Trump is a fascist and Elon's a collaborator. Rather, their reasons were a bit more broad. In some of these events, the culprits were rightoids who hated climate activism or believed electric cars represented a threat to gas car ownership or something. Like the government was going to come along and outlaw gas and make it so that everyone had to have an electric car. Other times, these people were simply poor and jealous, wanting to spitefully destroy something expensive and classy that they knew they would never be able to afford. These people also tended to be more rural, small-town right-wing types. And Elon himself was also more left-wing. He was a proponent of universal basic income. He called himself a socialist and believed that in the future, work would be voluntary and all human needs would be provided for. Now, I'm not saying that Elon can't change his politics over time. It's completely normal for people's political views to shift as circumstances change and experiences accumulate. What I find interesting is that up until Elon came out in support of Trump, Tesla as a brand was left-coded, representing progress and environmentalism, and right-wingers often mocked Tesla owners for their bourgeois activism and decadence. And yes, they occasionally defaced Teslas in the wild. The fact that Tesla's brand has 180 in terms of its perceived political alignment makes for a lot of really funny interactions between populist right figures and, well, their own pasts. They had no problem in the 2010s blasting Elon for being progressive, and Tesla for being this bloated, wasteful, subsidy-guzzling, virtue-signaling green corpo.
You know what? I don't know. How do you feel about Elon Musk? I think he's a dick. I know everyone loves Elon Musk. I think I'm in the minority here. I don't like Elon Musk.
I don't find the stuff he does that cool either. We went to LA, and the one guy, my Uber driver, was just fawning over the new Tesla Model 3. It looks like a Ford Focus with a facelift.
Look, I get it, but at some point, I love guys that throw out crazy, audacious ideas, right? So that part of it, I like.
That's fine. Just the problem
other
that
part I
uses
don't
government subsidies to fund projects that wouldn't have a leg to stand on if it weren't for billions of dollars.
Right, and that's the debate.
That's
the debate right there, right?
Exactly.
So engineers calling him an idiot for tunneling and stuff like that or whatever.
Which he might be.
Yeah. Well, he could very well be, but hey, go for it.
Well, like Tesla, that's a good example. It's Elon. It's the electric car. Okay, it's basically a way to scam the government out of money and let celebrities, rich people, virtue signal with their electric cars. Without government subsidies, Tesla would employ. I think sales in Denmark went down about. Sven Computer can bring this up. 60%. Once they started phasing out the tax breaks. There you go, from Bloomberg.
Which is funny about the Tesla because you get liberals praising it, but then you see one driving around and you're like, I know the guy's in the 1%.
Yes, well, let's get to that. So that's what's important, because let me sort of set the stage. The government is taking taxpayer money. They're giving it to rich people as a reward for purchasing these pretentious cars. I know they're fun to drive. I've heard they're fun. $7,500 rebate from the federal government, right, on the purchase price. And I think some states, like California, it's $2,500 or more. They can add it up to their own. By the way, like you said, the average household, do you know the average household income of a Tesla owner? Tesla Model X.
It's probably
Model X or Model 10?
Model X is the one, and then Model 3 is the one that just came out. It's a big deal, I guess. I don't know.
Okay. 503,000.
Wow.
Yeah. Where's Bernie Sanders
that's twice
when you
as
need
much
him?
I thought.
They need help too, man.
Where is Bernie when you need him?
But now they tout Tesla as an American success story, and they dick ride Elon constantly, despite the on-the-ground practices of his companies not actually changing all that much.
Government efficiency super team assembling. Doge is the department right now that people are talking about. It's a Department of Government Efficiency.
I love that.
And what's funny is the left can't even fathom that this may be a thing. I talked yesterday about baseline budgeting. Once you expand government, you never get it back. You never scale it back. And last night, Donald Trump announced Elon Musk and Vivek would be teaming up. They'll be involved with the Department of Government Efficiency. He said this on X. He said,
I'm pleased to announce that the great Elon Musk, working in conjunction with American patriot Vivek Ramaswamy will lead the Department of, it's not important, of Government Efficiency, DOGE for short.
To the moon.
They will work together to liberate our economy and make the U.S. government accountable to we the people.
It's just really funny to me to watch these people proclaim the Cybertruck as the ugliest, most postmodern piece of progressive nonsense, only for them to turn around and go, LOL, I was actually on board with this the whole time. This isn't like Elon changing his political opinions. The actual company and product is the same. Tesla has shifted from left-coded to right-coded, so left-wingers now hate it and right-wingers now love it, even though nothing's actually changed. Since we're currently looking at the Cordringer's account right now, let's use him to hop onto the final topic of the day. A deranged woman tells man driving a $100,000 Cybertruck that she feels sorry for him. Putting the political realignment of who mocks who for driving a Tesla aside, there's certainly been an uptick of people who are just getting screamed at for their choice of car. For example, one woman was cut off in traffic, only to have the road rager get out of his car and shriek at her.
Lee was on the way to a doctor's appointment in Linwood Wednesday morning when she says all of a sudden, a driver behind her just laid on the horn as they came up to a red light. Things spiraled out of control when a white SUV followed her and cut her off, stopping in the middle of the road.
Gets out and walks straight up to my window. So I crack my window and I said, what is the problem? And he goes, you need to sell your car. This is a Nazi car. You're driving it. You need to sell your car.
Lee says she's been driving a Tesla for the last 2 years. She says a man wearing a camouflage jacket and a ski mask attacked her for it.
It's really sad, that this is what's happening to people who honestly, it doesn't affect how I believe or what I believe. It's just the car I drive. Being in Seattle, it was climate's important, our footprint's important. This seemed like the right move.
Her response here is interesting. She sounds like somebody who bought a Tesla because she's concerned about the environment and she wants to use electric vehicles. Okay, fair enough. But that makes her a part of that previous pro-Tesla cohort from back when it was left-coded. And it turns out, now that Tesla's not left-coded, a lot of this damage being inflicted on individual Teslas by leftist activists, it's actually just left-leaning people hurting other left-leaning people. Some Tesla owners are putting messages on their cars, showing they agree with left-wing political positions, or saying fuck Elon or whatever, in order to show their comrades they don't support Elon's right-wing turn. One guy, in his attempt to avoid getting vandalized, even rebranded his truck as a Toyota. Of course, now that AI is everywhere, we're seeing tons of faked images, usually made by trolls or propagandists, to further stoke the flames. It's pretty clear that you can't actually spray paint a car with a shower head or a piece of chalk. Add these to the much older practice of posting images or video of unrelated events and claiming they're part of the current trend, and you've got a whole feast of falsehoods floating around right now. In response, the American government has stated they're treating these attacks as domestic terrorism. The Attorney General confirmed as much.
Today, I'm proud to announce that the Department of Justice has unsealed federal charges against another Tesla attacker.
Same with the White House press secretary on Fox News. And holy shit, I'm just realizing it now, Trump is filling his cabinet with hot blondes. One of these bitches is going to be the next Monica Lewinsky, and it's going to be fucking hilarious. Elon also said something similar, eerily talking like he's in charge of the government and not just a temporary consultant.
The people pushing the propaganda that caused that guy to do it, those are the real villains here. And we're going to go after them. And the president's made it clear, we're going to go after them. The ones providing the money, the ones pushing the lies and propaganda, we're going after them.
In fact, Elon's had quite a bit to say on this whole thing. Unsurprising since it is his company and brand on the line.
Yeah, I mean, it's really come as quite a shock to me that there is this level of really hatred and violence from the left. I always thought the left, or Democrats were supposed to be the party of empathy, the party of caring.
Now, Elon, I was told I shouldn't commit the sin of empathy. Empathy is toxic, remember?
The fundamental weakness of Western civilization is empathy. The empathy exploit. They're exploiting a bug in Western civilization, which is the empathy response.
You know, as much fun as I'm having today poking holes in rightist morality, and well, basically showing that it doesn't exist, that is not today's topic. I'll probably do a dedicated video on that in the future. But despite the fact that it's very easy to laugh at the utterly self-serving nature of the rightoids flip-flopping on Elon and Tesla, that does not wash away the fact that the leftoid Tesla terrorism is really, really fucking bad. This shit is entirely unacceptable. The leftoids are trying to claim this is the equivalent of the Bud Light boycott, and it simply isn't. It might have been gay and cringe when Kid Rock shot up a case of beer, but it was his to shoot. These activists are destroying other people's stuff, not their own, and that's what makes this unacceptable. All joking aside, this shit needs to stop. These people need to be arrested.
Destruction of property is a perfectly viable source of protest. These are just things. These are just cars.
You want to boycott Tesla? Go ahead. You want to protest outside their stores? That's your right. You want to start destroying uninvolved people's cars because you personally disapprove of their consumption habits? That's actually fucking terrifying. What exactly are you holding them responsible for here? What sin have they committed? Buying a product from a corporation that you don't like? Where does that end? Do you think people should be attacked in the street for drinking a Nestle branded bottle of water because Nestle is actually really fucking evil? No, that's fucking unhinged. This is what is meant by no ethical consumption under capitalism, by the way, that due to capitalism's inherent exploitativeness, anything you buy and consume makes you complicit in the exploitation, which to the most radical of activists makes you a legitimate target simply for engaging with the system in a normal way. Since remember, neutrality can't exist, even normal engagement helps perpetuate the system. You can't stand still on a moving train, and we're back to that social anarchist claptrap I talked about last time. But no, I reject this. I'm not an ideologically captured retard. I don't think people should be attacked for buying the products of a company that other people dislike. I think that's delusional. I hate that it's been normalized, and I want to see the police crack down on each and every single one of these fucktards, even if it is pretty funny to watch the rightoids slobber all over Elon's emerald-encrusted wiener. Okay guys, that about does it for me. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll be honest with you, a lot of the sources today came from Nick Monroe's thread over on Twitter. I'll link it in the description. If you want to see more dev, I got together over on Rags' channel recently, where he and I and a couple of his friends talked about the Nexus mods controversy that's currently ongoing. So click on the link on screen and go check it out. Have a good one. I love you.